Hi, Henry Tribble here, going over the code of Scrap Defenders. I'm going to start off with talking about how the build system works. So to show that, it's when the player presses B, or what is it? Where is it on the thing? So the south controller button as well. You can see on in the left of the screen, it has some little information. Um, and the way it works is it just shoots out a raycast from the camera forward and gets that position, and it does a couple checks. So it checks if there's enough space for the trap to be built, there's enough scrap, and it's on the right layer so they can't build in a pointless area and just waste the scrap of the player. So it starts by handling the blueprint, so that is to say, when you are looking at placement of the trap, so you get this blueprint of the trap, but not the actual trap yet. Um, so it handles changing it, so it holds an index to see which trap you have out first. Um, it spawns in the correct trap, and it moves it around. So moving it around is just lerping the transform of the trap and rotating it so that it's sticking out the wall or out the floor instead of trying to build a trap in a weird orientation. That's not really very helpful. Um, so let's go on to the next part. Um, so it also does do a quick check to see that it's built in the right place, and if it's not, it will tell the player by changing the color of the material of the blueprint to red. Um, so that's just done like this, just getting the mesh renderer and changing the color pretty much. And also putting a little icon. So I drew all the icons in Photoshop. Um, you can see in the top left there, and you can see that the Jack in the Box trap sticks out the floor, not the wall. So there's a little icon to show that they can't really do that, along with the red, just to reinforce that idea. Um, so it handles the blueprint, um, and then if if you get the proper input from the input manager and it has enough space, has enough scrap, is on the right layer, it will place the trap, and that just involves destroying the blueprint because they're separate objects, and instantiating the correct trap object in the right rotation and everything, playing some sound, and taking some scrap from the scrap system. Scrap system just a very simple scoring, but the complexity in the script comes from um, just all the effects and sounds that come with it. So that's pretty much how the building works. There are um, there are all these essentially trap types. So we have trap functions. So these were some of the traps that we came down with and came up with. Came down with? What am I on? So you got the ice cubes, and we had an idea for having a bowling ball trap at some point. Punch force, all of that. Um, and we just come up with all of these functions. The traps themselves, let's go into the prefabs. Um, they have a few quite nice functionality. If you decide to change to a sucker punch, then it will change um, the UI as well, so that a designer could take this and make a new form of trap using kind of combining other traps. So it's just a fancy UI script. Uh, so the let's have a look at some of the other scripts that go along with that. So there's a few other things that just do checks to see which type of trap it is to apply damage, and what kind of damage you want to apply. Um, and there's essentially a script for each function to go along with it. Um, that's pretty much how the trap mechanics work. Obviously, when you download the project, you'll get to have a look at a lot more of the scripts in more detail. But for the most part, placing traps is just using a raycast to find a spot on the wall and or a spot on the houses or anywhere else, and just placing a prefab on that spot. Each trap is uses some animations and some very simple programming to add functionality. So it's quite a lightweight system that worked really well for web, which is what we were aiming to achieve. So thanks for listening. In the next video, I will go over go over the movement system for the player. Again, not too complex, but a few nuances that we used. Thanks for your time.